Well, hello. I'm here with my team to explain a vulnerability that we have been working on with the purpose of completing the project. At this time, we are focusing, as we explain in the paper, how the Seattle Lab Mail version 5.5 is vulnerable to a buffer overflows attack. It took us some time to figure it out how to exploit this application, but we were able to go through the process. So now we are gonna show uh, how to do the testing and the procedure to identify the vulnerability, um, find out the scripts that we have to use that we create during the process, and finally being able to exploit the vulnerable application and get a reverse shell which delivers administrator permissions to the attacker. So let me explain you what we are going to do. As you can see here, we have two virtual machines. We have a Windows XP Professional. As a victim machine, we have to install the Immunity Debugger. We also got the SL Mail 5.5 to be able to fire up the application to test it. In the left side, we have these scripts that are going to help us to start the discovery, enumeration, and finally the exploitation process. So we are going to also show you what each script does, why we configure it in that way, and the whole process. So let's start. The first thing that we are going to do, we are going to initiate the application. When we go through testing, we like to initiate this application with administrative privileges. So when we go to control, we start the service. We have to remember that the vulnerable resides in the POP3 server on the pass malform parameter. So I always like to play with defining the or discovering which one is the IP of the victim machine if we are going through the process of working with buffer overflows. So here it will make sense to scan the victim, and for that we are going to use an Nmap scan with the following parameters SV, V3, PN, and we are going to enter to see we are going to enter the command to see what Nmap tell us, uh, because we are looking for the port 110, which one is displaying here. That's where the vulnerability resides. And we see that we have here the POP3 running, the POP3 service running on port 1 and 10. And on port 25, the system tells us that this victim or computer is running the vulnerable application. So at the time that we know that, we can start working with the real testing of the application. To do the test, first, let me explain you what we are going to do with the first command. When we open it here, we create this PowerShell, sorry, Python script. So what we are trying to do here, we know that the buffer overflow vulnerability happened because a parameter on the application or many parameters on the application uh, wasn't properly configured when the application was created, so we can take advantage of it. So here we are telling the system, I'm trying to explain this in the best way that I can. Buffer overflows, attacks, and development of scripts is a very, very complicated thing to understand. It's not easy task to understand. So what we are doing here with this script, we are trying to run a buffer. A buffer is a bunch of characters to see. We already know that the vulnerability exists in the application, but we want to start finding parameters like as example, the ESP parameter in the language in the language of the application, like the EIP parameter. So those kind of things are going to help us to to get some clues about how we can finally create the script, the Python script that is going to exploit the application to execute commands. So uh, what we are doing here is we are trying to buffer the application with the character A, and we are sending it 2,700 times. The sconnect parameters tell Python send these to the victim on port 110, where the service that is vulnerable that belongs to the application resides. So let's see what happens. So you're going to ask yourself, so how we are going to see what happened? Because we have this tool here called Immunity Debugger. Also, when I start all this process, I like to uh, reinitiate the service of the applications that I'm working with each time, because sometimes they get stopped because I didn't scan that stop the service. There are many things that here that needs to be touched to make them work as expected. So now that we know that the application is running, we go to the Immunity Debugger and we attach the service that we are trying to hack, just like that. And as we see here, the application gets called, and it is here in this screen where we are going to see the results of the enumeration that we are going to perform when we run this. So we are going to call Immunity Debugger to run the application because now it just now was stop or in pause. So now we will say that the application is in analysis process, so it's going to react to what we send. So let's start with the first command. I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to open the application. I'm going to check if I am in the right spot. Oh, yes, I am in the right spot. So I go for Python 2.7 and I'm going to send the first command that we have. Let me see here. We need to, okay, when we send the command, it say done. Oh, and we got something here. We see that all the A's that we send as characters got it somewhere. And we see here that the 41, 41, 41, it means like it has a value in bytes that saying that we were able to send the 41 means A. So we are able to overwrite the EIP and we continue sending the A's for a long time. We don't know for how long. We don't know the bytes space that we use on the application. We don't know where the application got broken. The only thing that we know is that we are able to send bytes. If we are able to send bytes, now we have to figure it out for how long. So probably we are going to be able to replace those A's with specific commands that we are going to be able to run on the victim machine to do pretty much whatever we want on there. So we already discovered the first part. So I like always to close the application, stop the service, restart it, recall Immunity Debugger, and get ready for the next step. So now that is running, it's pause, it's running again. So now I'm gonna go back to the Power operating system, and I'm gonna show you the second thing that we're gonna do. When I open the Python script, now we are gonna try to find out for how long we can run scripts. We can send parameters because this is critical to understand how big our or how long our malicious script can be. So we're going to do this using the same buffer, which one is the letter A. The counter is going to go, it's going to start with 100, and it's going to start adding 200s each time. And that's going to tell us that in which range the application really get broken. So we know when the application gets broken, we know that we cannot create a parameter or a final script longer than that, and we are going to know exactly the space that we have available to input that part of the script that is obviously malicious. So in here, we rerun it to find out. We already know that we have all this up and running. So we just need to go here and change the script. So the name of the script is to fuzzer pi, and we send it. So as you can see, something is going on in the application side. So first we send 1 byte, then we send 100 bytes, then we send 300 bytes, and it's going to continue running until the application or the service in the application gets broken because it cannot take data anymore. Um, I have to, I want to mention that these 100, 300, 500 bytes, they are just ACE characters, one next to each other. So it helps us to identify, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, for how long we can go. Um, so it is still counting. It's not broken yet. It's just sending data as expected. Sorry. It's still working. It's taking it. It is still running, surprisingly. Until now, the only information that we have is like a we can run. Oh, now the application got broken. You see, it doesn't run anymore. Something happened. Actually, Immunity Debugger helped us saying like it's paused because the service got crashed. And in our side, we can see that we can send between 2500, I mean 2700 and 2900 bytes. But we have to identify exactly where it get crashed because to be able to jump here with our malicious command, we have to find out exactly this position. So the position of those 4 bytes can be any between 2700 and 2900. So the question is, so how we can identify exactly the number where the application gets broken and where the application can be manipulated. Because for now, the only thing that we know is like we can send a bunch of data that goes between 2700 and 2900 bytes. We don't know anything else. So for that, we are gonna redo the process with a trick. Let me show you. So the first thing that we are gonna do, we are gonna reset the Immunity Debugger, closing it. We are gonna restop the service. We are gonna reinitiate it, and we are gonna reattach it to the Immunity Debugger because otherwise we are not gonna be able to get the information that we want. This is a process that we have to always constantly do until we get the final malicious script. So to do this, we are gonna revise the third script that we have here. So we open it. And this script is a little bit different because what we are doing here, we are using a tool called pattern create RB. that is part of the Metasploit framework, and we are telling to the parent create tool to write 3,000 different characters. You will say, why 3,000? You remember that the number that we have was between 2,700 and 2,900. We are sending 3,000 different characters here to be able to identify exactly the EIP position that we can start making modifications on the program to tell it, you know what, when you get here, do what we are asking you to do. Either run this remote command to get a reverse shell or anything that we want. So I already create the commands here. If you use this command on your Kali Linux machine or Parrot, you are going to get pretty much exactly the same 3,000 different commands. So let's see what happened. Let me show you. So we close it, we go to the command, and now we change it to, let me see, trees and a string. Is it right? Yes. And I go PI. So we send the able buffer, and we got here we got the 44396944. As you can see, all the different bytes were sent. We can see them here in this line. We also crash the application, but we are going to take advantage of this number because this number is going to give us exactly the location of it. It's going to give us a real number. So let me see. Uh, I got it here before. Pattern offset. It is another tool that we have to run uh, from the same location that we already saw. Let me display here because I don't remember the name of the location. So I'm gonna move where this location in the path where this location is to be able to run the tool. Okay, I got it there. So let me show you. When we type parent offset, let me copy it. There is a lot of going back and forth with this type of development, so this is totally normal, and it can get even crazier. Uh, I believe that I already opened it here. Yes. So now we are gonna type here, and we are gonna type the number that we found in the EAP. So we go for 443 96944. Let me see what is going on. Pattern offset. Yeah, that is about right. 44396944. Let me find out why it's not running. Oh, this one is I believe Ruby. Yep. So it tells us that the exact match at the offset is in the position 2607. So that number means like the beginning of the EIP is exactly that number. So now we have to confirm it because it's just a number. So for that, we redo the process. We stop the application, we restart it, we restart Immunity Debugger. I'm gonna just start it. Oh, okay. Run as. Okay. We attach the process. We leave everything ready, and now we go to the Parrot machine to analyze the process that I already mentioned to you, test screen, test string, I mean here. So we found out, as we saw in the pattern offset, that the break start in the position 2707. So to confirm that, we are going to be using this script to get that position and before full of A's, and we are going to send only 4 B's, and the rest is going to be just C. So what we are expecting is that the vulnerable application is going to get a bunch of A's. We are going to be able to control the AP position with B's, and it's going to continue sending 90 C's. So that's going to confirm if the B's display here with 42, which one is the value of B on the computer language. Uh, we got 442s here. It means like we have total control of the EAP um, location. So we are going to be able to send the information that we want to the application to act as we want it. So let's try it. Let's send this script. Let me go back to the previous. Okay, and the name of it is 4.1 test string PI. So let me send it. We are sending the able buffer, and as expected, we can see here in the application. Let me show you in the bottom because in here is on a we sent a bunch of A's. Actually, it wasn't a bunch. It was 2,607 A's. All of those are here. When we continue going down, we see that it's a spot where we have only 4 B's that are right there, and we continue with C's, and we see the reaction of the EAP value and the continuation of the command. So what it tells us that we were able to discover the exact location of the EIP. This is critical, as you are going to see in the next script. There are 2 processes that we are not touching here in this demonstration, which one are related to finding bad characters and the location of the ESP location, because those are part of the public knowledge for this application running on a Windows 32 byte machine. If we explain how that work, we could be here probably a week, because each case is totally different and there is so much data involved. So we are assuming and we are assuming it because the information, as I mentioned, is publicly available. So there is no much to touch about it. So the most important thing here is finding the redirection that we found here. So now that we know that, we are gonna craft a script that is gonna provide us the final demonstration where we were able to exploit the application and get a reverse shell. So how we do this? How we can do this? This is the command. This is the script. This is a particular command that we are sending to that we are running on Python. I mean on Parrot to get the shell code. That's, as you can see, is encrypted. Uh, so here there are 3 things that I want to mention. MS Venom, MSF Venom is a tool, part of the Kali Linux or Parrot machine that generates this code in red. Why this code in red is important? Because we are telling the the tool called MS Venom create code based on x86 language in the platform called Windows to get a reverse shell on the TCP service or the TCP protocol, better say. Um, our machine is this. This is the IP of our machine, attacking machine, to get a reverse shell on local port 444. Um, write it in Python as the script is, and these are the particular parameters that we don't want to include because when those parameters are included in an external command that we are trying to send to the application, in a way, the SL blocks it because it's reading to block it. But in the process that I mentioned, we are able to do a whole research to identify those as we did here. So that's part of the first thing that I wanted to mention. Here, we input the code that we get after we run the msfvenom command. And again, we are telling the system send uh, 2607 8 characters. We are including in reverse the EIP, the real EIP address that was present there. That is called, sorry, the ESP address. There is a lot of research on internet. As I mentioned, this is not an easy topic to understand. We were capable to figure it out how it works, but it may take very long time to go through each task. And this information is publicly available anywhere that you find the public script, as for example exploit.db. So this information, we can assume it because it is, this is exactly the vulnerability. The vulnerability lives here. We are focusing on displaying the process, how to accomplish an script that is able to crack the application. So then continue sending A letters C and then execute the shell code. This is the important part of our demonstration, how to get the shell code and the steps that we went through since the very beginning to get this shell code to tell the machine, if you are vulnerable, I'm asking you to do this. And what we are asking to the machine to do with this code, to send us a reverse connection to crack the application and get access, unauthorized access to the computer. So as you remember here, we uh, told to we told to the script to create the connection on local port 4444. So to do that, we have to open a port. And the way how to do, we use netcat. We enter ncl. Oh, I don't. Mm, nl. You know what? I have done this plenty, but now I forgot it. Let me do a quick research here. nc nlvp. Yeah, okay. nc, the command is nc nlvp 4444. So we open a port 444 to listen, expecting that the script is going to be able to crack the application and hack the machine, the victim, which one is this Windows XP Professional. So to do that, we have to stop it. We stop the service, we restart it. We don't have to open Immunity Debugger at this time because we are expecting to have, we are not collecting that anymore. We are in the exploitation process. So now we are going to run this command. So that is called 7 final PI. And we get the listening port here. So let me make this smaller. So Okay, so what we have here, we have the vulnerable application that is making the Windows XP professional machine vulnerable. We have a Python script ready to go for the exploitation, and we have a listening port re ready to receive the connection after a successful exploitation. So the only thing that we have to do here is running the script. We hack the application, and we got a reverse connection. So to confirm that we hacked the machine, we have to run ipconfig. So now if we got the same ipconfig, it's because we can confirm that we have access to the machine because we were able to craft and crack. Uh, we were able to, I'm going to say it again, we were able to craft the Python script to crack the vulnerable machine because of vulnerable application. So now this is even worse because actually when we run, oh yeah, it's not recognize an internal. Mm, the command for, let me see, uh, who am I? Um, Windows XP. We are trying to identify the user uh, that provide us the application. I believe the command is echo username, if I'm not mistaken here. Now, this machine may have, let me try. No, it doesn't, that user, no, it doesn't display on my side. Well, the most important thing here is that we were able to get, but you know what? I wanna prove this point. Uh, Sometimes it require a different type of. Mhm. No, we may have a limited shell, so I cannot display if the application is delivers the reverse shell from which profile. Usually, it is important because sometimes we can get a local profile or a standard profile or administrative profile. In this case, I'm pretty sure that that profile it is the administrator profile, but probably we need to extend the power of uh, the configuration of the reverse shell. But that's something that can be done, but it's not part of this demonstration. So pretty much that was all. We went through the process of creating the script, the Python script from scratch. We were able to escalate based on discovery and enumeration to finally get a working exploit. And we also expose that it's not that difficult to work with these applications that are vulnerable and pretty much how to complete this process. I hope you enjoy the presentation, and if you have questions, let us know. Thank you.